Coming up on Golf Central, after 3 straight missed cuts, Rickie Fowler is hoping his game heats up in our nation's capital. But as we start summer, we'll explain why Fowler is getting a spring break flashback.
First of all, Jordan's probably upset that he's not here to be a part of it. There might be some commentary through the week from him sitting at home.
Also ahead, after a 3-putt to lose last year, redemption is spelled DJ in the U.S. Open. We take a look back at some of the most memorable major comebacks. Plus 2 majors down, 2 to go. We bring you the top 5 favorites at Royal Troon. It's all ahead right now on Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
A very busy week ahead and an important one for Rickie Fowler, who's looking to stop the bleeding with 3 straight missed cuts dating back to the Players. You'll hear from him ahead of the Quicken Loans National. But he'll have to do it on a different course than last year after finishing runner-up to this man, Troy Merritt, who earned his first PGA Tour title with the win. While Fowler and Merritt have been around the tour for a while, a couple players will be making their professional debuts. John Rahm was the low-am in last week's U.S. Open, while Jordan Abruzzi was the low-am in the 2015 Open Championship. And with that, we say hello. Welcome to Golf Central. I'm Lisa Cornwell. Aaron Oberholzer joins us in just a moment. But first, let's take you out to Congressional Country Club in Bethesda, Maryland, where Rickie Fowler met with the media today. George Savaricas is there with the full story on Fowler.
Well, Lisa, Rickie Fowler's certainly been struggling with his game recently, riding 3 consecutive missed cuts into the Quicken Loans. Fowler was working on his game over the weekend at Oakmont, even though he had missed the cut in the U.S. Open. He's playing this week with a couple of his good buddies in Justin Thomas and Smiley Kaufman. And Fowler says he really likes Congressional, even though he hasn't had past success on this layout. He's hoping that, coupled with the group, will lead to some positive results in this week's event.
It's going to be fun playing with some of our best buds. I definitely think pairings where you're paired with buddies and get to go out and feed off each other, it can definitely make a difference. So we're all excited about it. We just hope we're feeding off each other with birdies and get everyone going. I haven't been driving as well as I normally do. I feel like one of my stronger points of my game, as well as my putting, and haven't been making putts, so not driving it well and then not able to scramble and make the par putts, and then not able to really get into a good rhythm or build momentum through the round. So it's just made it tough to really get off to a good start in tournaments, and hence the missed cuts. I mean, it's a fine line, as everyone knows out here. I got some good work in with Butch on Sunday, and all of it is just fundamentals from setup and getting the ball just to start on the line that we're actually looking, and having the flight that we want. One of the main things was my body wasn't rotating or continuing to rotate through the ball, but also some of that was caused by not being in a proper position at the top. So cleaned a few things up. Obviously something that continue to work on. It's a process along the way. You can never perfect the golf swing. It's always ongoing and possibly a new feel day after day or week to week.
You said you have an affinity for this golf course. Why?
I love the look of it. Obviously, it's a championship golf course. I played the U.S. Open here, missed the cut. Haven't played well here, so it's kind of weird. A lot of times when you like the look of a golf course and love the layout, you play well, and it just hasn't happened yet. And I think another one that has been similar to that for me has been Riviera. Love the golf course, and I haven't played well there yet, so it's got to change at some point.
And remember, in last year's Quicken Loans, Fowler was the runner-up. That was at the Robert Trent Jones Club in Virginia. And around this time last year, he had missed the cut at the Memorial and the U.S. Open before winning the Aberdeen Asset Management Scottish Open. So Fowler hoping the Quicken Loans can be a catalyst for a turnaround this season. All right, let's go back to the studio.
George, thank you very much. I promised this guy would be here. Aaron Oberholzer here to sort of dissect everything on Rickie Fowler. Look, because Rickie said, quote, that his body is continuing not to rotate through the ball. Yeah. He's had a problem with getting stuck in the past. Is this sort of the same issue there?
Yeah, it's sort of the same issue, but it stems from his golf swing originally and the swing that he changed to with Butch. Let's take a look at both Rickie's both swings. His old swing from 2010 on the left, his new swing from just this last week. Look at how much more vertical he is there on the right. right than the left. So that's a huge change for a professional golfer right there, just in posture alone. Now, as he takes the club back, you're going to notice at the top right here, look at how much flatter he is on the left. We circled there. Look at how much more shoulder you can see on the left screen versus the right screen. He's trying to get that club more upright in his backswing and more posted up on his right side. Now, as he comes through, there's not much difference there. Both of those frames look really good to me at impact, and then the finishes are good through. It all stems for Ricky on the takeaway, the setup and the takeaway. He talked about fundamentals, but here's the problem, Lisa. When you go this far away from your original golf swing, from your DNA, the golf swing basically that you created as a kid, you're going to have that much more time and that many more issues coming back to the golf swing that Butch wants him at. So it's a matter of him understanding the fundamentals that he has now and not trying to fall victim to what he used to do, but that's constantly going to be a battle for Ricky Fowler, just for how much different it used to be versus how he's swinging it right now.
Well, for you as a player, and when you think about changes that you've made, wholesale changes like that, for Ricky, I'm sure when he and Butch started this, there were a ton of drills that he was doing to try to get in a different position. Does that mean you have to constantly do those drills throughout your career?
Well, not necessarily. I think you're going to be able to lessen those drills. You're going to be able to find what you need, but it's going to be a constant kind of thing for Ricky Fowler to look into this and to make sure that he's not doing the things that he used to do when he was back in 2010. But it's always going to revert to that, and that's why when you see him miss 3 cuts in a row, it's harder for him to get it back quicker, like versus a Rory McIlroy or Jordan Spieth, because their swing DNA is a little bit closer to what they're swinging it like now versus Ricky. The wholesale changes that Ricky made with Butch are such a far departure from how he used to swing it with that original swing DNA that he's had since he was a kid.
It's fun when I get to work with you because we both get to kind of golf swing nerd out.
I love it. I know. Let's
keep it up. Let's take a look at some of the notables in the field this week. In the Quicken Loans National, Ricky Fowler is the highest ranked player, number 6 in the official world golf ranking. Patrick Reed, he's still looking for his first win of the season. Pretty hard to believe. And Jim Furyk, who's coming off a tied for second showing in the U.S. Open. For more on this event, we welcome in Golf Channel contributor John Feinstein. John, always great to have you. After a 1-year absence, it's back at famed Congressional Country Club. Good move for the tournament?
Yeah, I think it is. And the real good news potentially for this event, Lisa, is Congressional was ready to drop out after 2020. The way the contract goes is they're here this year, not here next year, here again in 2018, not here in 19, then back in 20. And Congressional was not going to extend its agreement with the Tiger Woods Foundation because it was trying to get the 2026 U.S. Open, and the USGA had made it clear you can't have a PGA Tour event that takes place in June and then have the U.S. Open that takes place in June. It's not like Pebble Beach or Torrey Pines where the PGA Tour events are in January, February, when the golf courses are totally different. So the Congressional was ready to abandon this event to get a U.S. Open, but as you know, over the weekend, the USGA announced that in 2026 it's going back to Shinnecock. So now Congressional is without a major. I believe the club's leadership is going to talk to the PGA of America about a possible PGA and or a Ryder Cup, but if that doesn't work out, then I can see them circling back to the Tiger Woods Foundation and saying, okay, let's talk about a contract extension. And I would think, knowing how Tiger Woods feels about playing here as opposed to other clubs in the area, they would make a deal if possible.
John, appreciate the insight. We'll talk to you a bit later in the show.
Thanks, Lisa.
Like most stops on tour, 500 FedEx Cup points are up for grabs in the Quicken Loans National. Last week's U.S. Open offered just a bit more, 600 to the winner, Justin Johnson. The victory moved DJ up to number 3 in the standings. World number 1, Jason Day, remains the front runner. Tomorrow, tournament host Tiger Woods takes the mic ahead of the Quicken Loans National, and you will get to have the chance to see it live on Golf Channel. Morning drive starts bright and early at 7 a.m. Eastern, and we'll bring you Tiger's news conference live a few hours later at 10 o'clock. Still ahead on Golf Central, we'll check back in with John Feinstein, who is never afraid to give his opinion. John weighs in on DJ's U.S. Open win and the rules controversy that almost overshadowed it. Plus, it's only 3 weeks until the Open. Aaron is back to give us his early top 5 picks.